All right, let's dive in. Today we're taking a look at flamingos.
Oh, cool.
Going way beyond those pretty pink flocks you see at the zoo
Yeah,
and really uncovering what makes these birds tick in the wild.
I love it.
Get ready for some seriously surprising adaptations,
Okay.
especially when we get to a place nicknamed Medusa Lake.
Medusa Lake. Wow. That sounds a little ominous.
It is as wild as it sounds.
Oh, okay.
And this whole deep dive is all about this text you provided.
Awesome.
So get ready for like a super personalized exploration of just how tough and clever these birds really are.
It's kind of fascinating how an animal that looks so delicate
Yeah.
can actually thrive in some of Earth's most extreme environments.
Right. It's crazy.
Imagine scorching heat, water so salty that it could burn your skin.
Ouch.
Not your typical tropical vacation spot, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So let's paint a picture of these birds first for everyone listening.
Okay.
We all know those bright pink feathers,
Mm-hmm.
the long neck, and those legs that seem to go on forever.
They supermodel legs, yeah.
But there's so much more to flamingos than their looks.
Oh, for sure. Way beyond the manicured lawns of zoos.
Right.
Wild flamingos lead a life that's anything but ordinary.
Yeah.
Their adaptations for survival, especially when it comes to their habitat and diet, are seriously remarkable.
So, okay, about this Medusa Lake.
Yeah, Medusa Lake.
The name just sounds ominous.
Yeah.
Where is this place and why the chilling nickname?
Well, Medusa Lake is actually Lake Natron in Tanzania.
Okay.
And it's earned its nickname for a pretty eerie reason.
Okay.
Imagine birds landing on its surface only to be turned into statues.
Oh, wow.
It's straight out of Greek myth.
That's both fascinating and terrifying.
Yeah.
So is there, actually a mythical curse at work here?
Well, not quite a curse, but the science behind it is pretty incredible.
Okay.
Lake Natron is what we call a hypersaline lake,
Right.
meaning it's way saltier than even the Dead Sea. And as if that wasn't enough, it's also incredibly alkaline,
Mm-hmm.
with a pH level that could, seriously irritate your skin.
Wow, so we're talking about a lake that's incredibly salty and alkaline.
Yeah,
That just sounds like a recipe for disaster for most animals.
pretty much, yeah.
What makes this lake so extreme?
Well, the nearby El Dueño Lengay volcano is kind of the culprit here.
Okay.
It's the only volcano in the world that erupts carbonatite lava,
Wow.
and this special lava reacts with the water
Uh-huh.
to make Lake Natron incredibly caustic.
So it's like this unique geological feature created an environment that's just
Yeah.
downright hostile to most life.
Pretty much, yeah.
What about the temperatures? You mentioned scorching heat earlier.
Yeah, the water temperatures in Lake Natron regularly soar above 40 degrees Celsius,
Wow.
sometimes even approaching boiling point.
Oh my God.
It's definitely not a place for a casual swim.
No, not at all. So
Yeah.
you've got this near boiling lake
Right.
with water so salty and alkaline it could burn your skin. Not exactly a welcoming environment.
Okay.
And yet you said that flamingos thrive here.
They do, yeah.
How is that even possible?
That's where those incredible adaptations come into play.
Okay.
You see, contrary to popular belief, flamingos don't actually eat fish.
Wait, flamingos don't eat fish.
No.
I'll admit, I always thought they did.
Yeah, it's a common misconception.
So what do they eat then, especially in a place like Lake Natron?
Well, remember those vibrant colors of the lake I mentioned?
Yeah.
Well, those often come from blooms of microorganisms,
Mm-hmm.
specifically a type of blue-green algae called spirulina.
Spirulina. That's the stuff health enthusiasts put in their smoothies, right?
Exactly. It's incredibly nutritious, packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals.
Wow.
And for flamingos.
Yeah.
It's the main course on the menu in places like Lake Natron.
So they've basically turned this seemingly inhospitable lake into a giant algae buffet.
Yeah, pretty much.
But how do they actually eat this spirulina?
Right.
I mean, their beaks aren't exactly tiny tweezers.
Well, they've got a pretty ingenious system for that.
Yeah.
Flamingos are filter feeders, much like baleen whales.
Oh, wow.
They have these specialized plates in their mouths called lamellae
Okay.
that act like sieves, trapping those tiny organisms from the water.
So it's like they've got built-in strainers in their mouths.
Exactly. And their tongues work like pumps,
Oh, wow.
drawing water in and filtering out the spirulina with remarkable efficiency.
How much water are we talking about here?
They can filter up to 20 liters of water per day,
Wow.
extracting enough spirulina to fuel their energy needs and maintain that vibrant pink plumage.
That's incredible. But didn't you mention something about, toxins in spirulina?
Yeah.
How do they handle that?
Well, that's another example of their remarkable adaptation.
Okay.
They've developed mechanisms to process and neutralize those toxins,
Wow.
something most other animals just can't do.
So they're not only surviving in this extreme environment, but they've also turned it into
Yeah.
like an exclusive dining experience.
Pretty much, yeah. Abundant food and
Mhm.
almost no competition.
That's pretty clever.
It is.
And this diet of spirulina, it isn't just about sustenance, is it?
No.
It also plays a role in that iconic pink coloration.
Right, that's right.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
Is it true that the brighter the pink, the healthier the flamingo?
That's exactly right.
Oh, wow.
Spirulina is rich in carotenoids,
Okay.
the pigments that give carrots their orange color.
Right.
These pigments get deposited in the flamingo's feathers,
Mm.
resulting in those vibrant pink hues.
Okay.
So, yeah, a bright pink flamingo is
Right.
usually a well-fed flamingo.
It's like a built-in health indicator.
Right.
The pinker, the better. So we've got this unique environment,
Yeah.
this fascinating adaptation for feeding,
Yeah.
and the striking coloration it produces. But why Lake Natron specifically?
Right.
You mentioned that flamingos are nomadic. They travel between lakes.
Yeah, yeah.
What makes this particular, like Medusa Lake, so special to them?
Well, while they might travel to other lakes for feeding,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to breeding, Lake Natron becomes like prime real estate.
Okay, now that's interesting. Why would they choose such a harsh environment to raise their young?
Yeah.
Seems counterintuitive.
It all boils down to safety.
Okay.
Remember those caustic waters and scorching temperatures we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, those very elements that deter most animals
Mm-hmm.
create a natural fortress for flamingo nests.
It's like a moat protecting a castle.
Exactly.
They've turned a weakness into a strength.
Pretty much, yeah.
Those harsh conditions keep predators like, what, jackals?
Yeah, jackals, hyenas, marabou storks,
Oh, wow.
all at bay,
Okay.
providing a safe haven for those vulnerable chicks and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be the most comfortable place,
Right.
but it's incredibly effective in terms of protection.
So they're essentially saying, good luck getting past this boiling caustic moat to reach our chicks.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's brilliant. And speaking of chicks, I'm curious about flamingo family life.
Okay.
What's their dating scene like? Do they have, like, elaborate courtship rituals?
They do, and it involves a lot of, like, synchronized dancing.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of a flamingo march?
A flamingo march. That sounds like something out of a fantastical parade.
It's quite a spectacle. Imagine hundreds, even thousands of flamingos moving in unison,
Wow.
their heads held high, legs stepping in time,
Uh-huh.
all while making these honking calls.
It's like this giant pink feathery ballet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, that must be incredible to
It
see.
is, yeah.
What's the purpose of this elaborate display? Is it all about impressing potential mates?
You got it.
Okay.
The larger the flock,
Yeah.
the more enthusiastic the marching display, the better their chances of attracting a mate.
So it's the more the merrier situation when it comes to flamingo romance.
Pretty much.
And it's not just about finding a mate, right?
Right.
This marching behavior also helps synchronize breeding.
Yep.
So they increase their chances of successful nesting and chick rearing.
Yep.
Fascinating. It's like they've choreographed their entire breeding cycle
Right.
around this incredible display of synchronized movement.
It's pretty amazing.
So once they've found their mate,
Yeah.
what happens next? How do they build nests and raise chicks in such a harsh environment?
Well, they don't build like cozy nests in the traditional sense.
Okay.
Instead, they create these mud mounds
Okay.
on the shallow shores of the lake,
Mm-hmm.
elevated just enough to protect the eggs from fluctuating water levels.
So it's more of a volcano nest than a twig and leaf nest.
You could say that.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Both parents contribute equally to nest building,
Yeah.
incubation, and chick rearing.
It's a team effort.
Wow, so there's no stereotypical gender roles in the flamingo world.
Not at all.
That's pretty progressive.
It is. They share the responsibilities equally,
Right.
from protecting those chicks from that scorching sun to feeding them a rather unusual substance called crop milk.
Hold on, crop milk.
Yeah.
Like milk from their crops.
Yeah.
What in the world is that?
It's a fascinating adaptation. Both male and female flamingos
Wow.
produce this nutritious red liquid
Okay.
from their crop, a part of their digestive system.
So it's like a superfood smoothie for baby flamingos.
You could say that.
Where does the red color come from?
You guessed it. Carotenoids,
Oh, wow.
just like with their feathers.
Okay.
The carotenoids in that crop milk
Mm-hmm.
contribute to the chicks developing pink coloration.
This is all so incredible.
It is.
It's amazing how they've managed to turn such a challenging environment
Right.
into a breeding ground.
It's remarkable.
But even with the protection of this caustic lake,
Yeah.
I can't help but think about all the challenges these chicks must face.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the threats they encounter in this unique setting?
Well, even with that protection of Lake Natron,
Yeah.
predators like African fish eagles
Oh, yeah.
still pose a threat from above.
Right.
And then there's the danger of the lake itself. Young chicks can get stuck in the mud and salt crusts, hindering their mobility and leaving them vulnerable.
It's a constant battle for survival, even in this seemingly impenetrable fortress.
It is, yeah.
And you said even something as simple as drinking fresh water can be risky.
Yeah.
Wait, why would drinking fresh water be dangerous?
Right.
Isn't that essential for all living things?
It is, but remember, flamingos are adapted to drinking salt water.
Right.
They have special glands that help them remove that excess salt.
Okay.
However, freshwater sources, like those geothermal springs near the lake,
Yeah.
attract terrestrial predators,
Oh, right.
making it a dangerous outing for young chicks.
So it's a trade-off between hydration and the risk of becoming a predator's snack.
Yeah.
What a dilemma.
Sure.
But eventually they grow up and learn to navigate these dangers, right?
That's right. Around 3 months old, they develop their flying abilities, and they're ready to leave the relative safety of Lake Natron.
Wow.
They join that nomadic life of adult flamingos, exploring other lakes and feeding grounds for a few years, before returning to Lake Natron to breed,
Okay.
continuing the cycle.
It's incredible how these young birds go from, like, awkwardly stumbling around a caustic lake
Right.
to soaring through the skies across Africa.
It really is.
It's a testament to their resilience.
Yeah.
But before we move on to their nomadic adventures,
Okay.
let's talk about one of the most peculiar and iconic flamingo behaviors,
Yeah.
the one-legged stance.
The classic flamingo pose,
Yes, you see it all the time at the zoo,
right? Mm-hmm.
but it's even more fascinating in the wild,
Yeah.
especially when they're sleeping.
It's like they're defying gravity.
It's definitely a sight that raises eyebrows.
Yeah.
Imagine a long-legged bird
Right.
balanced precariously on one slender leg
Yeah.
with its head tucked under its wing.
Like a chicken on a stick emerging from the water.
Chicken on a stick. That's the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
I can totally picture it.
It's a good one.
But as funny as it looks, there must be a good reason for this, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
There's more to this behavior than meets the eye.
All right, I'm all ears. Why on earth would they stand on one leg, especially while sleeping?
Well, there are several theories,
Okay.
each with its own merits.
Okay.
One hypothesis is that it's all about thermoregulation,
Okay.
reducing heat loss by keeping one leg tucked close to their body.
That makes sense. Less surface area exposed to the elements, less heat loss.
Right.
It's like their own built-in leg warmer.
Yeah,
But wouldn't they be warm enough in Lake Natron?
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And it's one reason why this theory doesn't fully explain the behavior.
Okay.
They do this even in warm water.
Interesting.
Another hypothesis is that it's about minimizing muscle fatigue.
Okay.
By alternating legs,
Yeah.
they distribute the load,
Hmm.
allowing each leg to rest and recover. So it's like a built-in leg swapping mechanism.
Exactly.
But this theory lacked concrete evidence for a long time, right?
Yeah, it did.
However, in 2017, a fascinating study shed new light on this puzzling behavior.
It did, yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did they find?
Well, researchers from Georgia Tech and Emory University, experts in biomechanics,
Okay.
did a series of experiments to figure out, like, the mechanics of this flamingo stance.
Biomechanics.
Yeah.
So they were looking at the physics of how flamingos stand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, what did they discover?
Well, first they dissected flamingo specimens
Oh, wow.
and analyzed their leg structure.
Okay.
What they discovered was an ingenious skeletal design
Huh?
with a special locking mechanism in those leg joints.
Okay.
This allows the flamingo to stand effortlessly on one leg
Wow.
without using any muscle effort.
Wait, so they can literally lock their leg into place and just stand there?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. And because their center of gravity aligns perfectly with that supporting leg, they can maintain balance passively,
Yeah.
almost like a built-in tripod.
So it's not just about reducing fatigue, it's about maximizing energy efficiency while remaining stable.
Exactly.
It's like they've found a way to stand for hours on end without breaking a sweat.
And to confirm this theory, they observed live flamingos and noticed that they actually sway less when asleep on one leg, suggesting this passive locking mechanism is even more stable than when they're awake and actively using muscles.
So they've literally evolved to make this seemingly impossible feat easy and energy efficient.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing how nature works.
It is. But before we get too lost in the wonder of flamingo balance, let's broaden our perspective a bit.
Okay.
We've been focusing on the lesser flamingo, the one most commonly found in places like Lake Natron.
Okay.
But did you know that there are actually 6 different species of flamingos?
6 different species?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Tell me more.
Okay, so they vary in size, coloration, and where they live. We have the greater flamingo, the largest of the bunch, found in Africa and parts of India.
So flamingos aren't just an African phenomenon.
No.
They're truly a global species.
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
We also have the American flamingo, known for its bright red plumage, which lives in the Caribbean and South America.
So we have African flamingos, we have American flamingos. What about the others?
We also have the Andean flamingo, a high-altitude specialist.
Oh, wow.
That thrives in the challenging environment of the Andes Mountains.
Wow, a flamingo that calls the Andes home?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is.
What about the other 2?
There's the Chilean flamingo, found along the coasts of South America, and the Puna flamingo, which lives in the high-altitude salt flats of the Andes.
So from scorching salt flats to towering mountain lakes. Flamingos have truly conquered an incredible range of habitats.
They have.
It's amazing how adaptable they are.
It is, and their evolutionary history is just as impressive. Fossil evidence suggests that flamingos have been around for over 30 million years.
30 million years. That's mind-boggling. They've clearly figured out how to survive.
They have, and that longevity isn't just limited to their evolutionary history. Flamingos are known for their long lifespans.
Really? How long can they live?
In the wild, 20 to 40 years, which is quite long for a bird.
Yeah, definitely.
And in captivity, they can live even longer.
How much longer? Any record breakers?
There was a flamingo in Australia that lived to be at least 83 years old.
93 years old. That's practically ancient in the bird world. Talk about defying the odds.
It is a testament to their resilience. They've truly mastered the art of survival.
It's incredible.
It is.
But even with their incredible adaptations and long history,
flamingos
are facing some very real threats in our modern world. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
What are some of the challenges these birds face in a world increasingly impacted by humans?
That's a great question. And it leads us to a discussion about the conservation concerns surrounding these magnificent creatures.
Right.
But I think this would be a good place to pause.
Yeah, let's take a break.
And we'll pick up this conversation in part 2 of our deep dive.
Agreed. We've covered so much ground already.
Yeah.
From their bizarre diet to their intricate mating rituals and even the physics of their iconic one-legged stance.
It's amazing.
I can't wait to dive into the conservation challenges they face.
Yeah.
In the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back, ready to continue our flamingo deep dive.
Let's do it.
Before the break, we were just about to get into the conservation challenges these remarkable birds are facing.
Right.
So, what are some of the biggest threats to their survival these days?
Well, as adaptable as flamingos are,
Yeah.
they're facing a whole new set of challenges in our modern world,
I bet.
many of them directly related to human activities.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I imagine habitat loss is a major concern, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As human populations grow and demand for resources increases,
Yeah.
we're encroaching on flamingo habitats at an alarming rate.
Makes sense.
Wetlands are being drained for agriculture.
Right.
Coastlines are being developed.
Yeah.
And pollution is seeping into those delicate ecosystems.
They have that classic story of human development
Yeah.
pushing wildlife further and further to the margins.
Mm-hmm.
And for flamingos, which rely on these specialized salt lakes and lagoons,
Right.
that loss of habitat can be devastating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just about losing space.
Right.
It's about losing those specific conditions they need to survive.
Right, of course.
And it's not just habitat loss.
Okay.
Pollution from agricultural runoff, industrial waste, and even sewage
Wow.
is contaminating the water sources they depend on.
It's like we're slowly poisoning the very places they need to thrive.
Yeah, it's a big concern.
What about climate change?
Yeah.
Is that having an impact on their habitats as well?
Climate change is a huge concern.
Okay.
Rising temperatures, altered rainfall patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events can all wreak havoc on flamingo habitats.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem. I imagine these sensitive salt lakes are particularly vulnerable.
Yeah, you're right.
To changes in weather patterns.
Prolonged droughts can cause these lakes to dry up completely, leaving flamingos with nowhere to breed or feed.
Right.
And on the other hand, heavy rainfall can dilute the salinity of the water, disrupting the delicate balance of the ecosystem and impacting the algae growth they depend on.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Too little water or too much water.
Right.
Both are bad news for flamingos.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Are there any other climate-related impacts we should be concerned about?
Well, climate change can also influence the distribution and abundance of predators, putting additional pressure on flamingo populations.
Right.
It's this ripple effect with each change impacting the entire ecosystem.
So it sounds like they're facing like this perfect storm of threats.
Yeah.
All converging on these already vulnerable ecosystems. Are there any more direct threats from humans we should be aware of?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Human disturbance can directly impact flamingo breeding success.
Right.
Things like tourism, while potentially beneficial if done responsibly, can be very disruptive if not managed carefully.
Right.
Even seemingly harmless activities like low-flying aircraft or drones can cause them to abandon their nests.
It's a reminder that even our seemingly benign presence can have unintended consequences for wildlife.
It's true.
It's like we need to tread more lightly on the planet.
I agree.
And then there are the more like direct threats, like poaching and egg collection.
Right.
Wait, people poach flamingos? Well, I never knew that.
Yeah, unfortunately. In some parts of the world,
Yeah.
flamingos are hunted for their meat or feathers.
Oh, wow.
Or their eggs are collected for food.
It's a sad reality.
It is.
But thankfully, these practices are not widespread, right?
Thankfully, no.
It's heartbreaking to think that these incredible creatures,
Yeah.
which have survived for millions of years,
Right.
are now facing such direct threats from human actions.
It is sad.
It's enough to make you lose hope.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that there's still hope.
Oh.
There are a lot of dedicated people and organizations working tirelessly to protect flamingos and their habitats.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's easy to get overwhelmed by the negativity sometimes.
I agree.
What are some of the positive things happening in terms of flamingo conservation?
Well, one of the main focuses is on protecting and restoring critical flamingo habitats.
Yeah.
This involves creating protected areas, managing water levels in key lakes and lagoons, and working with local communities to promote sustainable land use practices.
So it's about finding that balance between human needs and the needs of the ecosystem.
Right.
Making sure we're not just taking, but giving back as well.
Exactly.
And education and awareness campaigns are crucial too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The more people know about the threats facing flamingos and the importance of their conservation, the more likely they are to take action and become advocates for these birds.
It's about changing hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And that starts with knowledge.
Absolutely.
Research plays a vital role as well, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
By studying their behavior, movements, and population dynamics, we gain a better understanding of their needs, which helps us develop more effective conservation strategies.
So it's about using science to inform our actions, making sure our conservation efforts are targeted and effective.
Exactly.
There are also efforts to reduce human-wildlife conflict, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Particularly in areas where flamingos share their habitats with humans.
Right.
This might involve implementing strategies to deter predators from nesting colonies. Or working with local communities to minimize livestock grazing near sensitive flamingo areas.
Right.
It's about finding ways to coexist peacefully.
Exactly.
Recognizing that we're all part of a larger interconnected web of life.
Absolutely.
And international cooperation is essential too, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Especially for migratory species that cross national boundaries.
It is, yeah.
Conservation truly knows no borders.
It's a global effort.
It's a reminder that we need to work together to protect these shared treasures.
Yeah.
It's a global effort.
I agree.
I believe that by combining all these efforts, habitat protection, research, education, and international collaboration, we can give flamingos a fighting chance to thrive in the future. It's hopeful to hear that there are so many positive things happening on the conservation front. But what about us, like as individuals?
Yeah.
What can we do in our own lives to contribute to flamingo conservation?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play in protecting these incredible creatures, and it all starts with education.
Okay, so step one is to learn more.
Right.
What are some good resources for people who want to, like, dive deeper into the world of flamingos?
There are tons of great resources out there.
Okay.
Books, documentaries, scientific articles, and even podcasts like this one can provide valuable insights.
I agree.
The more you learn, the more you'll appreciate the intricate beauty and ecological importance of these birds.
Yeah, there's something about learning about a species
Yeah.
that makes you want to protect it even more.
I agree.
So what about actions?
Yeah.
What are some, like, tangible things listeners can do to make a difference?
Well, one simple but impactful step is to support sustainable businesses and products.
Okay.
By choosing companies that prioritize the environment, we can help reduce the pressure on flamingo habitats.
So it's about voting with our wallets, making conscious choices that align with our values.
Exactly.
Being mindful of our water consumption is another important step, too.
For sure.
By conserving water at home, we're indirectly helping ensure there's enough water to sustain flamingo habitats.
Right.
It's a reminder that even small actions can have a ripple effect.
They do.
And when we travel,
Yeah.
we can choose ecotourism options that prioritize sustainability and minimize the impact on wildlife.
Exactly.
So it's about being responsible travelers,
Right.
leaving a positive footprint rather than a negative one.
Absolutely.
And supporting organizations working directly to protect flamingos is another powerful way to make a difference too, right?
It is. Donating to reputable conservation groups can have a direct impact on the ground.
It's about putting our money where our hearts are.
Right.
Investing in the future of these incredible birds.
Yeah, I agree.
What about spreading awareness? How can we get more people engaged in flamingo conservation?
Sharing is caring.
Okay.
Talk to your friends and family about what you've learned. Post about flamingos on social media.
Right.
Encourage your local schools or community groups to learn more.
Okay.
The more people who know and care, the better.
It's about turning our passion for flamingos into a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Inspiring others to take action.
Yeah.
We can all be flamingo champions.
We can.
Speaking of champions,
Yeah.
before we wrap up this inspiring discussion,
Okay.
I'd love to get your thoughts on a broader question.
Okay.
What can we learn from the resilience and adaptability of these extraordinary birds?
Right.
What lessons can they teach us about navigating the challenges of a changing world?
That's a great question.
They've certainly overcome a lot throughout their evolutionary history.
They have.
What insights do you think we can glean from their story?
Well, I believe they offer a powerful lesson in resilience and the importance of community.
Okay.
Flamingos have thrived in extreme environments and faced down countless challenges.
Sure.
They've adapted to change, made the most of limited resources, and relied on those strong social bonds to ensure their survival.
Right.
They demonstrate that even in the face of adversity, we can find strength in adaptability, collaboration, and community.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
They remind us that we're stronger together.
Yeah.
And that even in a world facing unprecedented challenges,
Right.
there's always hope if we learn to adapt and support one another.
I agree.
And they underscore the importance of protecting our planet and all its inhabitants.
Absolutely.
Flamingos are intimately connected to their environment. Their fate intertwined with the health of the ecosystems they call home.
It's true.
Their story is a reminder that our actions have consequences,
Right.
not just for ourselves, but for countless other species that share our planet.
I agree.
It's a call to action,
Yeah.
urging us to become more conscious stewards of the natural world, recognizing that our well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of every living thing.
Exactly.
And I think the flamingos, with their vibrant colors, their graceful movements, and their remarkable resilience, offer a symbol of hope.
They do.
They show us that even in a world facing unprecedented challenges,
Right.
beauty, resilience, and the interconnectedness of life persist.
I agree.
It's an inspiring message,
Yeah.
leaving us with a sense of wonder, a renewed appreciation for the natural world,
Right.
and a call to action to become champions for the conservation of these extraordinary birds and the ecosystems they represent.
Well said.
And perhaps the most fitting way to conclude our deep dive is with a challenge to our listeners.
Okay.
What can we do, individually and collectively, to ensure that these magnificent creatures continue to grace our planet for generations to come?
That's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
It's a question worth pondering, a challenge worth embracing.
Absolutely.
And as we've learned today, the answer lies not just in scientific understanding and conservation efforts, but also in our hearts and minds.
It does.
It's about connecting with the natural world, appreciating its wonders, and becoming active participants in its protection.
I agree.
You know, it's incredible how much we can learn from flamingos.
It is, yeah.
I mean, just their resilience, the power of community.
Yeah, for sure.
They've adapted to some of the harshest environments on Earth, and they totally rely on each other for survival.
It's true.
Their story is truly inspiring, I think. They show us that, like, even when facing these incredible challenges, there's always hope if we learn to adapt, collaborate, and support each other.
Absolutely.
And they also remind us, I think, how crucial it is to protect our planet and all its inhabitants.
Yeah.
We talked about how flamingos are, like, directly linked to their environment. Their fate is tied to the health of their ecosystem.
Exactly.
So, like, their story highlights that delicate balance of nature and how our actions can have those ripple effects on entire ecosystems.
It's true.
It's like a wake-up call to become more responsible stewards of the natural world.
I agree.
You know, what we do matters not just for ourselves, but for all those other species that share this planet.
Absolutely.
They offer this symbol of hope with their vibrant colors, their graceful movements, and just that remarkable resilience.
That's pretty amazing.
Reminding us that beauty and that interconnectedness of life, it can persist, even in the face of adversity.
I agree.
It's been an awesome journey exploring the world of flamingos.
It has, yeah.
From their weird diet and unique breeding habits to that fascinating one-legged stance and the challenges they face in our modern world.
It's been a lot to cover.
It has been. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to leave our listeners with, like, a sense of purpose. We've learned so much, but what can we do with this knowledge?
That's the key question, right? Knowledge is only powerful if we use it to create positive change.
Exactly.
We've talked about some actions individuals can take, like supporting sustainable businesses, conserving water, choosing ecotourism options. But it's also about, like, raising awareness and advocating for policies that protect these guys.
Right, so it's about taking that passion we've hopefully sparked today and turning it into action, whether it's making small changes in our own lives
or speaking up for flamingos on a larger scale. Every effort counts.
Absolutely.
I think you said this earlier, but I encourage everyone listening to continue learning, exploring, and asking questions. The more we understand this natural world, the better equipped we'll be to protect it.
I agree.
So let's all be inspired by these flamingos. Those pink, feathery symbols of resilience.
For sure.
Adaptability and the power of community.
They're amazing.
I mean, their story just remind us that even when facing adversity, beauty, grace, and collaboration can win. Beautifully said.
That's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of flamingos.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time. Keep learning, keep exploring.
And keep advocating for these amazing creatures.
Absolutely. And thanks to you for joining us today.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, we'll catch you on the next deep dive.